Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Paranormal Lens. Jamie Widener here with Chad Thomas, your host tonight. Tonight is we're going to do something different. You know, it's like a Monty Python opening now for something completely different. We went to White Hill Mansion last Saturday evening, with members of the Jotniks home team here in Pennsylvania, and also with our Jotniks New Jersey sister team. And we hit that place pretty hard. And we're going to have a discussion with the team members who were there, most of us who were there, and trying to give you a little bit of evidence that we captured that we're able to review quickly enough to get into this episode, because anyone who's out there in the field knows that you can't get it all done real quick. And basically 3 days, it's a lot. So every minute you record, you got another minute you got to review. So whether it's audio or video. So there's a lot of stuff here we're going to try to unpack, and some of it's going to be anecdotal, but we had a really fun night with some really cool activity and some neat stuff to share with y'all. So, and we're also going to bring back in our good friend Kyle Mangus from the Friends of White Hill Society.
Actually, I'm going to do that right now, Jamie.
Yeah, hey, there he is. We know that guy.
Hey,
there's Kyle. We're going to bring Kyle in as well, as this is news to him as far as what we've captured. And just try to have a discussion and maybe give you something that you don't know that we found, or you can expand upon what we found and give your own opinion and view from what you see on the regular there at this really cool property. So let's bring everybody in.
Green room's pretty cool, so let's throw them in here. Hey, everybody!
Hey, I know these people.
What's up, guys? Who are you people? What am I doing here?
Don't let anybody on this show.
So if you don't remember, 9 of us spent Saturday night together in the heat.
Yep.
Really warm evening, some rain, some heavy rain at some points. And we had an investigation, so we want to talk about it and go from there. So.
Yeah. So the first thing I like to ask everybody is, and I know the answer, so bear with me, but who was there for the first time?
Well, sort of. I was there for a history tour.
Like half of us, right? So, and I know we were missing 2 members who were there, Alex and Kirsten. They were not there before. So, it was an interesting mix of that, been there, done that dynamic versus the kind of wide-eyed, wow, this place is big first and then kind of cool. It just keeps going, like the size of the property. So I guess maybe what we'll talk about first is, what was your first impression getting there and seeing the property, getting ready to get going, like first thoughts. Jay, what do you think?
Me?
Yeah.
The property's awesome. Being a TV paranormal ghost nerd that I am, I recognized the place, but didn't realize I had seen it on some episodes and didn't really realize that's where I was showing up at. But when I got there, I showed up first and ran into Kyle, and I'm like, I've seen this, it looked familiar. So it's got the ghost vibe, it's got the ghost look, it's got the energy. So I was pretty excited. Once I put the puzzle pieces together, I'm like, all right, I've seen other people. So I was pretty pumped.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Amanda and Kelly, what was your thoughts?
I just thought it was incredible. I'm a huge history buff myself. I watch endless documentaries all the time. So the fact that this house was built upon like all these different eras through time and hosted all these different, parts of history, like, from the tunnels to the speakeasy to the attic being who knows what. It was fascinating. Just as the building, and then you throw in the paranormal and you're like,
yeah, the stories are all really cool, and just coming up to it, the initial looks at it were really cool for me. I love that brick and the way like the paint's just peeling off of it. It's just like, to me, is just so freaking cool. Like, I want to get in there and take like close-ups of the brick and just like close-ups of all the weird stuff, like the banister. I took so many pictures of the banister because it's so beautiful. It's just really neat. Like, we don't build stuff like that anymore, so I enjoyed, like, discovering all the nooks and crannies and the weird angles of the ceilings and the weird windows and the weird circle window. Like, what's that window doing, I don't know.
we could spend just doing photography in there. So
Yeah, it's a cool place for pictures.
Tim and Eric, you've been there how many times now? 3, 4, 5, 10?
Four.
At least
Four.
four.
Four. Yeah.
At least four.
Four.
Do you get the same feeling every time you show up? Like, it's my second time, and I was like, as soon as I got to the driveway, and I came in a different way than the last time, so I was like, oh, I'm here. But pulling down the long, it's a quarter mile off the road, that seeing the house, and finally as you get, come across the field there, it gets like, that, all right, moment of just like, it's kind of exciting still. Does it still feel that way for you guys when you come back?
It's exciting. To me, I'm getting comfortable with it now. So I'm more in the lines of how I feel about the brewery. So it's kind of comfortable, and I know nothing's there that's going to harm anybody or anything like that. And it's kind of just being a part of history, just like going into the brewery. It's not much different now for us. But it's still exciting because you're always going for another paranormal investigation to see what you're going to be getting,
In a lot of ways, every time I go there, it just feels more and more like home. Like it's a comfortable place. It's welcoming. I've always felt it was welcoming. And each time we go there, it just there's another. It decides it's going to open up and just kind of show us something else about itself. And really, it's kind of like it's kind of like walking into a family's house at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
well,
get that.
Jamie, I think that's a good. Let me go to one of our clips here because Tim sort of brought up something that he brought up into this in this clip. So I'm just going to play the clip, then we can talk about it after we're done. All right. So here we go.
So I think you know why we're here. We've been here plenty of times before.
So in that little bit, I don't know if you heard it right after I bumped the volume up. It's still hard to hear through something like this, but bumped the volume up, and we think it may have said "come on." So I don't know if that was like "come on, get started," or what were your senses, Tim? You said it may not have been anything.
It's kind of hard to say, right? Because it's basically like, yeah. The sense I get from it is like, yeah, come on, we know what you're here for. Let's just do this. You've been here enough. It's kind of like just kind of anticipating that we're going to do stuff and trying to figure out almost like what it's going to do.
Well, me hearing it for the first time, it sounds to me like it said hello. I don't know.
Yep.
I mean, we still need, obviously, right? That was a real quick find and a real quick work on the tuning, right? And we still need to clean it up a little bit, do a little amplification, but
now, I do want to bring up, we have this on at least 2 recorders.
Yes.
It's on 2 different recorders, so it was probably something that was there. Like it was probably a voice that was there. It wasn't just an EVP, would be my guess. So who knows?
So before where are we when that's captured, or what is the space that's in for context, and where are we in the evening's process?
That was when we very first began.
Yep.
That was, I think, maybe 1 or 2 minutes into our first session down in the speakeasy, the bar.
Okay.
Yep, exactly.
Like we had just gotten done setting up.
Mm-hmm. So and I left a voice recorder down in the bar the whole night, so I've got plenty of stuff to go through just to see what else was picked up when we weren't down there. So interesting. So, and we had 2 cameras down on that level as well, right, Tim?
Yeah, you had yours on the bar itself, and I had mine all the way in the back, in the wine area.
Yep. So, when we got there, we spent about an hour maybe in the bar, just because it was literally cool. We could cool off, and we were having some interesting stuff happen. So
it was the only habitable climate space we could be in for a while.
Exactly.
That was the main driver, really.
Hey, I had fun dancing to that swing music, so that was fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
At least for me, that was the most active spot that I experienced that whole night.
Wow, really?
When the picture came flying off the wall right behind me, right after Erica said, which I rewatched today, and you're like, did you hear that? And as soon as you said that, it was like smash, and it was right behind me, and I'm like,
well,
holy crap.
Jay brought it up, so we did have a camera down there.
I'm glad you got that.
Somebody was between the camera and the frame that came off the wall. If you just look over Kirsten's right shoulder, you can see the corner of the frame, and you can see a little bit of movement when it falls. But I'll play the clip, and you can see.
Yeah, you can see my silhouette when I stand up, but your Eddie is what's in the foreground. Your EDI.
Yeah.
But if you actually look, you see me stand up and go, "What?"
Yep. So, well, let's play it and see what we think.
Did you like to dance here, or did you play cards?
What's that?
Whoa! Crap! What was that? Oh, what the hell was that?
Well, that's what we call poltergeist activity.
Jesus.
Did somebody move something?
No, somebody just fell off the wall. A picture frame completely, like broke. It like flew off the wall and broke. I watched it fly behind Jay.
I saw the damn thing. It did just fall.
I didn't move.
Jay wasn't moving. No,
Nobody
we were
was
not
moving.
No one was moving. No one was moving. We were all dead still.
No, we were doing it, an EVP session, so
That was
none
my
of us
level.
were moving.
I have no idea what I heard before that happened.
Yeah, that's what I thought was funny is because you were like, "Did you hear that?" And then bang, that happened. And then you see all of us jump, like 3 of us, like.
Well, yeah, I was sitting right there with Jay at the table, and I just think it was so funny that, and you see Kelly walk over to the thing, and I was like, any normal person would have jumped up and ran screaming out of the room, but all of us are like, oh, what's going on? Hello, and we're all walking over to.
I mean, I tend to get excited for stuff like that, but then we got the backstory, which they said that was the one picture that's happened before, so that was kind of a weird twist.
Let's let Kyle explain this, and he's been there. So Kyle, can you give us the backstory on this?
Yeah, so that's the only picture down there that's ever come off the wall, and all the pictures down there, they're hung by nails, so it's not like it's any kind of adhesive or anything. But that's the only picture that's ever fallen off the wall, and that's the first time it's fell off the wall in at least over a year or longer. So it's not like it's just falls off all the time. So that's strange.
And Dawn had said when I was talking to you guys that she had just replaced that frame too. That was a brand new one.
Yeah, last time when it fell, I think the same thing probably happened when it hit the ground. It broke, so she put a new frame. So it's not like it was the same half-broken frame that we put back up. So that's weird, and I don't know why it's only that picture on that wall. So
and
the blessed break.
Do we know what movie poster it is in that? It was a movie poster in that.
You know what? I've never actually looked, but I believe it is. I think we put them up years ago when we had a Roaring 20s party down there. So I'm assuming it's something from that.
Yeah, I think it's a French film, and I'm pretty sure Ingrid Bergman is on it.
It's like
I remember looking at it.
Sort.
But I regret not getting a picture of the picture itself to reference for later.
But I don't know if it was
quick shot of it.
Jamie or Chad. It looked like you fell out of the chair when that happened. I jumped up, just all of our reaction happening at the same time, right when Erica says, "Did you hear that?"
Right, because we were actually playing back an EVP. We had done a recording, we had done a burst EVP session. We were actually playing back and trying to listen to to see if we'd gotten anything. So.
Yeah. And I don't know that this, and Kyle, this may be interesting to you, but I think when we got to the point of the playback, I was asking specific questions about why whatever's there isn't a fan of Dawn. Yes. And I want to know why. And right at the point of that playback, that's when the picture came down.
Interesting.
So, I'm not to say that's a tie.
Yeah.
Or anything, but it was just, it's coincidental at best, but it's an odd coincidence, considering the history of her in the space and whatever's there.
I mean, I'm
going to give you guys credit for this. So, nobody ran, right? A little language. Thanks for the bleep on that, Chad. This is technically a family program. But nobody ran away from it. We all went to it. You know, and I'm going to say this from my perspective. That's the difference between a ghost hunter who would run and a paranormal investigator who would seek what happened. So, good job,
I just
guys.
stood up because it almost hit me. I was the one next to it. And then we did our job. You know, we investigated the frame. We looked at the nail on the wall. You know, we could tell there was some moisture on, you know, the frame itself, the cardboard on the back. So we definitely, you know, tried to look into it more than just run.
Yeah.
And we picked it up off the floor. We didn't leave it on the floor.
And the glass didn't break.
That too. I mean, the frame broke. I don't know how the glass didn't break.
Yeah, glass
You
didn't.
can
fall,
hear
right?
how hard it hit.
Yeah.
It was loud.
I didn't realize it was that loud in the moment. Other than once I watched the video, I was like, man, that was really loud.
Well, you consider that camera was sitting on the back edge of the bar, you know, a good 10 feet away from where it happened. You guys in the space right at it. That had to be a bomb going off.
Oh, it was right beside me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, so moving on from that, what other experiences do people have? I know Alex and I, shortly after that, we broke off from the group because I think you guys were going one at a time back into the tunnel or the wine cellar area. Alex and I actually went up to the attic.
Did Chad freeze?
Yep, we lost you there, Chad.
Can't hear. We lost your audio, Chad.
We lost your sound.
Come back to us, Chad. Come back to us.
Come back to the light.
Well,
Come back to the light.
somebody turn on an SB7. Let's get Chad back here.
I can grab my SB7. It's right over here.
I'm not sure what's any better.
There you are.
Okay.
Chad, can you move the cat ball?
What's that?
Chad, can you move the cat ball?
So I was saying that Alex and I went up to the attic. We didn't have a whole lot of stuff going on. We had a little bit of tripwire, some flashlight stuff, but in the individual rooms down the other end, Alex felt like he was getting touched. We all know how hot the attic was that night. It was when we were up there. I think it was between 88 and 92 degrees.
Above 90 when I was up there.
And he felt his hand got cold, and then his whole left arm got cold. And then he felt like he was being led into one of those rooms and felt like there was something standing in front of him. So
where were you in the attic as far as space wise? What area?
We started out down in the open area where the writing is on the wall up on the roof, the slanted roof there. We started there, and then he felt like we were being directed to go down through that, step up and step down to the individual rooms at the other end. So, and that's where he felt like something was touching him. So
that is really interesting because that leads into Kelly had a massive touching experience. So
it sounded a little weird.
It sounded weird. That's why I kind of stopped there, but we're gonna let Kelly take that over.
Yeah, definitely. Got chills myself up in that exact same little, like, I don't know, we're calling it the cubby hole, but yeah, back in that weird space where you go down and up the step, and kind of like I was crouched down. I was actually sitting like with the diagonal roof over above my head, and we were communicating with something, which we'll play in a little bit, I'm guessing. And I got chills on my body, and usually I'll get chills just like on my arms a little or something, like I'm feeling a little tingly, but I got it down my arms and then down my back and then all the way down to my calves. And it was like the most like strongest chills I've ever had from anything ever. And I was chilly, like cold. It was probably 90 degrees up there, like we said, but
yeah,
I was chilly. It was very strange for sure.
That's another thing too. And you'll see on the video that like at the end of the clip, I posted the full 8-minute video, and the end of that video, I actually ask, "Are you the one like giving her chills?" And it like kind of does a little thing, and then you hear Kelly go, "Oh, all over now."
Yeah, it went all the way down my body, and I actually felt like something was touching me on my hair like this, like kind of tickling my hair. Not hard enough to touch my scalp, but just right on my hair.
Yeah, and we were fighting over her like sitting with us because like she was like on my right side, and I'm telling you, I was freezing in that attic. And I know everybody probably thinks I'm nuts, but I was not cold. I was not sweating. I was not hot. I was chilling. I was cold like that whole time. So it was wild. We were fighting over her company.
Now that you say about touching your hair, Alex had the same experience. I think it was up there. I know it was someplace, but he had something touching his hair. So, but why don't we go ahead and play that clip from you guys up in the attic? And this is a K2 meter, and you were having, and it was a brand new K2 meter, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
This is the first time you put it out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right. So here's the clip.
Is everybody up here nice? Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay. All right. I just asked because I know that our friend Kyle, he works here. Like, he helps out during the day and stuff. He's helping with the renovations. And he said that he gets uneasy when he comes up here. Do you know Kyle? Yes. Okay.
That was an excited yes.
Yeah, it was. You saw that? Okay, cool. So that's awesome. So does Kyle have any reason to be scared though? Because I know he gets nervous sometimes. Does he have any reason to be afraid of anything up here? Oh, okay. Okay. Is there something? Okay.
Thank you guys for asking those questions.
Watch out, Kyle.
We're investigators, but not just the paranormal. We just got to make sure you won't be okay there.
Well, at least they know who I am, so that's something.
Mm-hmm.
I brought that up specifically because when I saw you in the trailer, you said that they were messing with you Friday night. Like you said, you were seeing all kinds of shadows. So I was like, let me just see. I was like so intrigued since I was getting such direct responses. I was like, I should ask for Kyle because like you specifically, pointed out the attic. So I was like, let's see what's going on. And
yep, makes sense.
Yeah, that was crazy though. And like Kelly and I seriously, like we went up there. Like I said, the last we were all cleaning up. Everybody was packing up and we just hadn't been up there yet, and we were like, "Oh, cool!" I was like, "I just need to go up there. I need to experience it. I need to see it." And I was like, "We'll be fast, like 10 minutes." And we ended up getting this full conversation, and like Chad and Jamie ended up like pulling us out of there. Like Jamie's like, "We have to leave, guys." I'm like, "But we have a friend here."
Yes, literally at the end. It's all good. At the end, literally, Amanda asked, "Can we be friends?" And the K2 reacted.
K2 like goes, really, and I was like, "Yes."
Super cute. Yeah.
That's really cool too, because there's not a whole lot of EMF up in that attic. There's really not any electricity. It's very few and far between. So you're not going to get a lot of false readings up there.
See, that's really interesting because I took the tripwire up there. I think I took the 36-foot tripwire up there, and it was going crazy. And I actually just discounted it because it was like it's not, it hasn't settled once. So there's definitely some sort of energy up there. If there's not EMF, then there's some other energy of some sort.
And I've had other people, and I've even experienced with tripwires in the basement, and especially up the attic, where sometimes you'll set it up and it'll work perfectly normal. There's nothing wrong with it. And then other times, just like you said, Chad, it just won't stop. And there's no rhyme or reason. There's no energy field that is causing it. So I don't know. It's strange.
So speaking
Tim
of
can
energy
probably
fields,
explain it, but in the bar, whatever that sink is, it was giving off some kind of EMF charge that was affecting the tripwire.
Oh, the Wi-Fi.
Well, no,
Mm-hmm.
the bar, the old iron piping, and there's a pipe that runs underneath the bar, which connects to the sink there. And so I'm guessing at some point someone did some grounding to those pipes, and right underneath the bar there is just a massive amount of EMF. It's all coming. If you can just check, right? When I had the tri-field meter up to it, it was off the chart. So I'm guessing at some point everything is grounded to those pipes, and those pipes, just running down through the bar area it's all lit up.
But upstairs, even mine was zero everywhere, other than down in that bar.
Yeah, those pipes don't really run up to the third floor.
No, that's what I'm saying. It was zeros upstairs, but I was catching it on mine, you know, by that sink we were trying to rule out.
So your okay clip, Tim, where was that from? You know which one I'm talking about?
You got to play it for me because I don't
Okay.
remember.
We'll go ahead and play it then.
Since we've done this investigation, so you got to bear with me here.
All right, here we go.
Be real impressed if you can make that entire string light up, starting over by Jay and then coming all the way over towards me.
Do we have a digital recorder going?
Yes.
Okay, I can hear Amanda back there.
It should be on
It sounded like it was whispering.
Oh, there we go.
Hey, that was nice. Over there and then over here by you.
All right, so this was actually at the beginning of the investigation. This was down in the basement. Kind of heard right. We were asking for something to light up the tripwire, and the middle of it we knew to kind of ignore. So we were asking for it to go from one end to the other because of the way it was, and so we asked that, and then you can kind of hear right in the very end there. You can hear okay, and then you hear us react because the tripwire lit up. So something was definitely interacting at that point, and it seemed to acknowledge, like, okay, I'm going to do this, and then it does it.
So yeah, you couldn't identify any of us saying that okay, correct?
No, we can track everyone except for the okay, and that's why that one just kind of stood out. That it just seemed out of place, right? We can track Amanda, we can track myself, we can track Jamie, so we know the voice is there, but it was just very odd that okay happened, and then immediately afterwards we saw the interaction on the tripwire.
So a couple of EVPs we picked up. So
that was cool.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that was on my voice recorder, but I don't think it was on any of the other things. I didn't hear it on anything else that we were using to record at that point.
I'll check.
I had mine running. I gotta go through it and see time wise, see if I caught it also.
And I'll check the camera.
I haven't had time to review anything either. So I've got hours to go through.
Yeah,
I may have something too.
Okay.
So
go ahead,
one
Jamie.
of the when we kind of did the together first session, except for when Chad and Alex split off to the attic, but then we went up to the second floor for the second session and kind of split in half, left and right side of the house. One of the things that struck me in that moment was we had the obelisk running in the near front bedroom for quite a while, and we're having a lot of activity on that in that session as far as what felt like direct responses to the questions, or at least reasonably direct. You guys want to talk about that at all? Tim, Erica, Jay, Kelly, you guys were in the room with me.
I mean, we got Edison, we got Robert, we got Tesla, we got some pretty direct responses. Tim can validate. He was the one asking questions.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of interaction that seemed to happen there. I need to review the obulus log. Right. That's the room that actually the camera died in just before we started our session.
Interesting.
We get up there, and like I said, these packs, they last anywhere from typically around 10 to 12 hours. This one pack, the one room that we went in and the one room we did the session in, is the only one that completely drained. Everything else by the end of the night was down maybe a third. But we seem to be getting some pretty direct responses. We did seem to get some of the names of the people that are reported to have lived in the house. We did get Robert, like Jay had said, as well as we were just kind of getting a little off the wall answers. So it was kind of hard to say whether or not anything was intelligently interacting with it or just kind of curious. But from between the EMF level that we were reading in there, it should not have been setting off the obulus nearly as much as it was. And which really made that very interesting because it was just, there were moments it was just firing word after word after word.
Yeah. And multiples in a row, like almost sentence fragments.
Well, I
The
thought it
other
was
thing-
weird that they brought trigger objects
Yep.
to try to interact with the kids, and the one container said Edison on it.
It was an
And
old
then we get Edison through the obelisk. I thought, like, what are the odds of that? You know what I mean? Like, she could have brought any container with any toy name on it. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it was
Absolutely.
it was actually an authentic 1920s Edison record, a cylinder record that we found at an antique store. So, yeah.
And that's a pretty odd, specific word to come out of the obelisk compared to with what you brought. So I thought that was cool.
Well, Edison and Tesla, they both those names came out at that point.
Yeah.
And it would probably be appropriate to the time period. If I remember correctly, Whitehall Mansion and a few of the other buildings in New Jersey of the same era were some of the first ones to get electricity. In fact, I want to say that if I remember correctly, at least one of the reports, Whitehall was the first one in the area, in that southern area, to get electricity indoors. So it really kind of, when you look at the names that came up, things like Edison, Tesla, right? They would be very important for all of that to have occurred back in those days. And Kyle, correct me if I'm wrong on that history, but
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on when the electricity came to Wayhill, but it was one of the wealthier homes in the area, so it would have made sense in that time period to have that. And I do know from the 1800s to the early 1900s, there was a lot of people in manufacturing and typesetting, so also in that kind of, I don't want to say inventor, but industrial kind of vibe. So it makes sense.
So, and while you guys were up there, then Alex and I went back down to the bar. And Alex was playing poker with somebody over at the round table in the corner. He was using a flashlight to take cues. So he had some fun with that. I was talking to Heinrich or Henry. We asked, and he said he preferred to go by Henry. So that was cool. And at one point, I brought up, the bootlegging and the whole thing, and the Dawn's friend from Wichita. I had some feedback from him as well. I'm like, it was the guy from brought that up, and he responded, but didn't go into a lot. But it was just interesting. So
awesome.
And also something I want to point out that also happened during that session. I got a really strong sense, and this is just before the other thing we're just talking about in the other room. I got a really strong sense of the smell of rosewood.
Oh yeah,
which I'm starting to find that happens to me more and more frequently at various places that we're having interactions. I get a really strong scent of rosewater, and it happened really strong in that room.
That happened to me last time.
That's what I'm saying.
There.
It seems to be happening more and more. Because the last time it happened to me, the last time when we were there and it happened to me, it was in the kitchen.
Interesting. Going back to that space too, we also, as Chad alluded to, we had flashlight activity happening on the table as well. Don't want to forget that. That was interesting on a call and response tactic. So there was something more intelligent there, perhaps, than we were, than we know. Definitely interacting with our equipment. Kyle, this is a side question, perhaps, but with your experience in the house, and the groups that come, the frequency of groups that come, there seems to be regular activity with folks coming through, and in a place like that, then people bringing equipment in, getting the utilization of that equipment to the spirits of the house. Do you see that there's activity that you get this feedback with stuff that people bring on a regular basis?
Yeah, I think just from my experiences being there 4 years and seeing, like you said, different groups come through, different techniques, I think whoever's there or whatever's there, the spirit, they kind of learn and they evolve and they learn how to use different equipment. Some use it better than others. So that's how I see it. They kind of are learning from us as we're learning from them. So it's really interesting to see, at least from my perspective, as like a property manager or whatever you want to call it, caretaker, seeing that the hauntings kind of evolve. And it's cool sitting here listening to you guys kind of tell me your experiences, because a lot of it is stuff that I've experienced and other investigators have experienced in the same area. So it's really cool.
Wyatt even brought 2 brand new mag lights, which are a smaller style than the bigger one we typically use. And I set up all 3, and my 2 new ones were going crazy, which me and Tim have discussed different theories about it, but it was still, it's cool to hear, other teams are experiencing that, and how do we explain that? You know what I mean? I eventually shut them off and went back to just my regular one, which didn't do nothing. But them 2 new ones were going goofy for a little while.
Interesting.
So I don't know if it was just equipment. Tim's, he knows a little more than me. But I did record, like Tim said, set up a recorder next to it to see if it's just a camera mouth or a, flashlight malfunction, or if it's, paranormal,
So, Erica, you mentioned the Envoy. I
It's
heard
never,
you.
it's never gone off anywhere except for White Hill.
Was this the first time, or has it gone off before? Okay.
We were getting direct answers right. I put it on yes and no, and every time I asked something, it just hit.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh my God, it works!"
That was in the parlor. We did our live session from there. I've got about a minute clip from that. Jamie's a good time to go with that one.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right, here we go.
I'm sure Henry, considering his business dealings, would know that the prohibition is over. Because there was a clipping downstairs saying, "Welcome to the new tap room." That was,
Oh.
the clipping was after prohibition.
Nice.
So, we know the tap room wasn't new at that point. Huh?
Cool. Yes, it said yes. And okay. Yes, okay. I think we have Henry here, I would say.
It went off a lot more than that.
Yeah.
That was a clip that we put together for this in time.
Yeah.
Amanda and Kelly have worked on feverishly getting these things together.
Yeah, I was just kind of rushing, trying to pick Tim and I were going back and forth trying to find the best mashup, basically, because we had so much interaction in the parlor there with all different things. So I tried to find just a clip that legitimately showed the Paralight, the Envoy, and stuff going on while we were talking to them, like direct interactions. And not seen in the clip here was the fact that we got to Henry because we were eliminating, by process of elimination of who we were talking to. Because I think Chad had asked, "Are you a member of the Field family?" And nothing, it was dead, nothing had gone off. And we're like, okay. And then he asked the Bruce family, we went through, and we got to Henry, and it was the lights started going off. And we started talking about the tunnel and the archaeological dig that you guys are going to do. And it was it got weird. So I know Erica asked if you guys were going to find bodies. Nothing. She asked about a relic or something. Nothing. Yeah, nothing. And then as soon as I said something about because you said there's a room or a tunnel there, all the lights went off. And we were like, okay. So that's how that conversation got started, because Tim's like, "Oh, well, Henry knows that the prohibition's over, he shouldn't be worried about the tunnels." And it was almost like Henry was being a little sarcastic with us too. So it was really cool.
We also, at some point, it seemed that we got an interaction possibly with Samuel as well. That is
Or some child.
Right.
Yeah.
But it seemed to answer to Samuel, which thankfully, we had all those wonderful toys out there, the trigger objects to help draw things in. It definitely had some kind of interaction. We do believe it was a child. It did respond when we were asking for Samuel, though.
Yeah, Erica asked it to Erica. What you said to spell its name or something, but the Envoy. And
it That's why that's when I switched it to yes or no, because it wasn't, whatever was there was not strong enough to,
Or didn't know how to spell.
or did not spell.
Yeah, it was like trying though, because you said it was like it would stop
Yeah.
on the S, and
Yeah.
like the tail lights would go off.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Something that happened to me and Amanda, I think we were in the attic when I finally broke out the SLS at the late in the night. And
It's probably
you would
Kirsten. I don't think that was me.
yeah, I can't. We were in the
Yeah,
dark.
Kirsten.
It was dark.
It was
We're
dark.
all the same.
Kirsten, okay.
We're all in the dark.
But I mean, just speaking of kids, she had said, you know, she had felt something, and then I got this small little figure, looked like it was sitting on her lap
Yeah.
on the SLS. But then I also got a separate big thing that was taller, and I'm 6'1", so this thing. But when I was watching the one show today, they had SLS footage of this little figure they got under a table, and I'm like, I caught that this weekend. But it was sitting in her lap, like, and it was like half her, like a third of her size. So that was a pretty cool catch.
I wish she was here to explain that experience. You know, I'm going to try to paraphrase what she said, but you know, right as the experience was happening with the SLS, she also felt kind of a strangeness on her right arm.
Yeah, and that's where the SLS figure showed up. It was
exactly. So
in front of her, and I could separate you, everyone else. You know,
and we tried that. I mean, I was across, away from her, but in the pan of the view that Jay was seeing. And I'm like, dude, are you sure it's not me? Because, they can't differentiate the two of us. And that you're clear, you're there. I get you. This is not you. And, I made a point, I didn't mean to badger you on it, but I wanted to make really sure that it wasn't me interfering. And I feel confident it wasn't. That was a great catch.
So do I, because I even panned off like once or twice, and I could see, the little thermal corner. I could see your outline. I could see her outline. And this thing it looked like a baby almost size, like a 2-year-old, like just. And then she, before I even saw it, had said she started feeling weird or, was experiencing something. And I was like, I can see it. You know what I mean?
Well, we're running out of time. I've got one more clip to play.
Yeah.
Jamie, this is your clip, so it's a little bit longer.
No, we lost him again. It's about 2 minutes, guys. I apologize for the length. We're in the attic, and this is once this experience we just described with Kirsten, I went across to the larger room, and she stayed behind with Jay, and Alex and I went across the hall, and we're there. We're just kind of looking back and forth at each other because there was shadow play up there, as we documented before, and we had 2 K2s. Both were sitting on the table behind us. I decided to move one to the single chair that's in that space that has no seat left, like a wicker chair. So as soon as I sat it down, this is what happened. All right, so this is a chair on the 3rd floor. Train going by, but a chair on the 3rd floor that doesn't have a seat, and it's in a room all by itself. There's no furniture here of any kind otherwise. This is the main room on the 3rd floor. Just sat the K2 down, and it is going crazy. The K2 is freaking out right now. Would you wait and get it over, please? I'm going to move closer to it. Can you put it on the chair close to the area or somehow? Here comes the 2nd unit in. There was a boom outside as well. Heard that. I'm going to turn on a flashlight so we have reference to what we're looking at. Now this is interesting that one device is going off like crazy and the other is not. Moving closer. Adjust this to move it to see if it's something Ghost stuff. Yeah. That's what we do. Yeah, that's what we do, All right.
Yeah, nothing, man.
All right. Stop recording.
Did you hear that? Get out of here. Was that a voice or was that human voice?
Well, the challenge here is that Kirsten and Jay are still in the other room talking to us, so I'm not sure what's there either. I did catch something of an odd sound, and right in the midst of that too, there was a loud bang. That's why I said heard that, because it came from where they were, and I don't know that they really acknowledged that either in the moment. The weirdest thing is that that I sat that down and literally turned to walk away, and I just happened to look back and notice that it was going crazy. So otherwise, there was really no reason. And as we talked about it earlier, this is that space of the attic where there's really no power. So I can't understand why that would have been going off, with interference of any kind. And what's really interesting, of course, the second K2 comes in and no activity at all on it. And as soon as I touched it to move it just to make sure, it goes away. So really interesting for me, at least. Nice catch kind of thing. I will add something to that. And what we were trying to do, because we were in separate spaces, is see the shadow play that has been documented. And in my first time there, I saw what happened. That you, Kyle, that you explained happened to you last Friday. Where something was just moving back and forth in that small bedroom to the left of the stairwell. And I noticed as I was sitting there, looking, across, and there's a window straight across, so that you definitely have some ambient light, and then there's at least one front window or back window. Sorry, so that room is illuminated enough you can see in it. And the room I'm in is there's a big window, but it's all the way down. It's pretty far, so there's not a lot of light in my space. So I don't have the conflict of night vision being compromised. As I'm looking across the hallway, I see there is a fire extinguisher right at the top of the stairs when you step out into the landing there, the hallway. And I kept seeing the light that was reflecting on that change. And I thought it was light that was coming from the far room across the hall. But as I got up to investigate that and just to, kind of see, because that would be pretty bright, I realized that light is nothing to do with that room. It's actually a window that is very high in the stairwell, like a rectangular long window that is actually up above the trees. So it's not like the trees were blowing and causing shadows and so forth. But that light was definitely being blocked out at times, and to the point where I had Kirsten come over and sit with me, and she experienced the same thing where she's like, "Yeah, that's definitely getting blocked out." So. And it's it's a metallic cylinder for a fire extinguisher, so it's reflective, and it was really quite interesting. And unfortunately, it was too dark, and I only had my phone on me, so I didn't have night vision to see this. But what I deduced from that then is that something was either in the physical hallway, at the doorway, or at the stairs at the top that was blocking the light out enough at times, with some transit. So it still fits the narrative of something moving up there. But I didn't physically see it. So, unfortunately, it's anecdotal. They didn't have anything to capture it with. But it's still a really cool space up there. And, I don't know where to go with it from there. Other than to say it's just something that one of those things we experience. Or should I say just one of those things of the night? Jot Nick's on that.
You're funny.
I did that? Yeah?
Oh, yeah, I like that little.
Very nice.
Shout out to John Nix.
I know.
Just one of those things of the night in New Jersey.
And bless all you short people. Crawling back in that tunnel thing sucks when you're 6'1". It took some work for me to get back in that little hole.
That's funny.
We were going to just leave Jay there, but
I would have. I probably would have slept all right. That little corner side cut. That's a small hole to get in.
It is.
At least for me.
Well, there's still one unexplained shadow figure that goes all the way back to my first visit to White Hill, which is down in the basement. When you go to, start going down the hallway there, and you the first room on the right hand side.
Oh, that had the old wine
the old
bottles.
power,
Yeah.
but it had an old like power panel in there.
Mm-hmm.
And the very first time I went there, I walked past that. I looked in that room, and I just started shooting pictures. And right before my camera could snap, the flash lights up, for the anti-red eye, and something moved right out of the way of getting this picture taken, and then it snapped the picture. I've been trying to figure out what that has been ever since.
Oh,
Cool. Well, hopefully my mic's working this time.
We can hear you.
Hey. We have gone longer than we wanted to. I know people have to get ready for bed and go to work tomorrow. Work gets in the way of paranormal all the time. But anybody have any final thoughts?
Well, I have a question yet, and this is the big one. Okay, so team members, dear friends, haunted or not haunted?
Haunted.
Yep, haunted.
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 Myth confirmed.
yeah.
It's just for me, it was a different kind of haunting because I felt like we were chasing things around that we couldn't fully pinpoint. So,
Okay.
I think that needs its secrets want to be revealed in its time.
Yeah. I feel like you had to exercise a little bit more patience with the spirits here. I definitely do. I feel like some of them are a little bit more elusive and a little bit more sarcastic. Yeah. I love it. I would live there. So.
Well, you have a friend there, so.
I do.
That's true.
But that's what
I would love to come back. I love my team. Nice meeting you, Kyle. Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
you guys are welcome back anytime. You're a great group of investigators. You seem
Thank
to
you.
get consistent results. So, and you guys are just awesome. So please come back.
Oh, we will be. That's for sure.
That fence is going to keep us out. Don't worry.
Yeah, get rid of that fence. You don't need that fence.
Quick, get the ball.
So we would be really remiss at this point if we didn't say thank you to you and the entire Friends Society. Without your upkeep and care of the property, we wouldn't be able to be there. We obviously would like to help plug and support the operational supports that you're looking for. So here is a donation, the donation page from the Friends Society website. The QR code will click you into how to give and support this beautiful historic property that is haunted, and a way to get there as well. Some opportunities. So if anybody, again, I said this last week with our intro episode, if you're ever interested in investigating a place, this is the spot. There's information on the website on how to coordinate that, but also how just to support the place in general. So, and when you get there, and I know you probably can't see me much anymore, but you can get some cool merchandise like this fantastic T-shirt that I'm holding up. Got Ghost.
I knew it.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And then the back is that White Hill Mansion does. So fantastic. I'm gonna wear this with pride. I'm gonna wear it to work tomorrow because I can. But get out there, enjoy this property as much as we did. Kyle's a great guy. Dawn, the board members there that are working diligently. And if you're afraid of the dark or afraid of ghosts, go out and do a history tour as well. That's in the daylight. So nothing to be scared of in the daylight, right? Ghosts don't happen in the day. But, right.
And then I believe coming up in the fall, they've got the candlelight tours coming back. So.
Yes.
Yep, around September, October, and even a little bit into November. So if you aren't hardcore into paranormal investigating, this is a little taste of it. So something to definitely look into.
Cool.
Perfect.
Well, thank you.
Okay. Kyle, again, we can't thank you enough. We'll see you soon. I'm
it
sure
was a
of that.
pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Of course.
Dang, nice meeting you. That was awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, Kyle, thank you for everything.
No
Yeah,
problem.
and guys, thanks to all of you guys as team members too. We were joking about how this would be a bit of a circus, getting all of us together and all the excitement that we had. So well done tonight. Thank you. This is the most guests we've ever had in an episode. So Chad and I had no idea what was going to happen. So we really appreciate everyone for making it and staying up a little later perhaps than usual. Go get your rest. We'll see you this weekend or the next one after or whatnot. So we have a couple
John, next
Obviously-
Thursday we're going to be at Red Mill. Y'all need to come. Whoever's watching this, Red Mill Museum Village, come to our event. Let's hang out and investigate. Oh,
There it is.
yeah,
We
we're gonna have
We
a
know.
cool dude there.
I'll
from,
be there.
Yeah, Jay's gonna be there. He's the cool dude.
I wouldn't say that, but thank you. The rest of you, I'll see you Saturday at Boobies.
All right. Thanks, Jay.
Everybody, have a good night, everyone.
Yep. So,
Good night,
Thank
Ricky
you.
Kyle.
Thanks again.
all right. So I think with that, we'll just roll the outro, Jamie. Sound good?
Yeah, we got. Yeah, well, we'll see. There's tickets left for Saturday.
Yep.
If you can make it, we only have a few events left before we get to Red Mill, which is the big one. There's still there's a few tickets. I shouldn't say plenty. There's still tickets available, but it is coming up rather quickly on this weekend of September 2nd. So it's less than a month out now, or just about a month out now. So do not wait, because it is a limited event, and then a couple events coming up, obviously at Boobies. So yeah, that's let's roll the credits. I think find us on the usual social media stuff. And thanks everybody for watching, and again, thanks teammates for being here as well.
All right,
you guys rock.
Thank you again, Kyle. We appreciate
Love
it.
you guys.
And Kyle, of course.
All
Thank
right.
you guys.
Night, everybody.
Night.
Good night.